Right, okay then. I think it's about time that I actually did these Moonclan shooters. However, I'm not quite going to do them as just Moonclan shooters, just purely because I think we've got quite a diverse kit here, and I feel that if I just did them one way, we'll kind of be missing out, I suppose, on playing around and creating both a shooter unit and a spear unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice mix of the two. Now I'm just having a quick look as well about the way that this, comes across. So if I put these next to each other, we can see what we've got is we've got basically a replication across the spruce. So we have got a lot of things that are the same and then a few kind of, little differences. Now, don't want to waffle too much here because I feel like I'm already waffling quite a lot. But it looks like we have a gong up here. We appear to have something that looks like the top of a standard. So I'm looking here, we've got an actual standard, but then we've got this thing. Now, this looks like it could attach to this one to become a different kind of standard as well. Now, I'm just trying to have a kind of look through just to see if we have a secondary kind of gong or musical instrument. So I'm just kind of, again, it's just sort of scanning over them and seeing if there's anything that jumps out on me. So there's a kind of nice hand weapon, isn't there, for your boss? We've got things like, so we definitely have two standards. I think that's definite though. Yeah, we've got two standards. I've got one gong, and I've got more than enough shields, bows and spears to do whichever combination that I so choose. We've also got a couple of netters, and again I feel that probably one netter per mob will be perfectly fine. So that's the way I kind of want to approach this. I think that's how I want to move forward. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 bodies in total. I just wanted to check that because we've got one without a head here so that we can place that, but then we've got a spare head down here for if you wanted to increase the mob later on, that body there can be used as a normal goblin. Well, git, as it were. Okay, let me get up and running on this then. So I think what I'll probably do first is I'm going to start off with the boss. Now, I've just realised I've got my old damaged clippers out right now. So I better go get my other one. Okay, here we go. Probably better off, yeah. Now, I'm not going to be putting these on the bases either, just purely because I've got plans. So I'm going to be doing sculpted bases for all of them when I've got time. Here we go, here's the head. It's very rare to see units kind of like this with the Age of Sigmar stuff where you've got so much freedom, which is really nice to see. And on top of that, it's a nice big unit with loads of models in it. Okay, so this one will clip on here, nice and easy. Get my glue out now. So with this being a boss, it should just be a simple matter of grabbing this sickle. And the thing is, although my bow guys, you know, my bow unit isn't going to have a boss to begin with, but there's no doubt about it, I am going to buy a second one of these kits. I think it's fair to say that I like this kit so much that when I've finished with moving house, I'm definitely going to go buy a second one of these kits because I love it. Makes me wonder how old this kit is. I would not be surprised if this is actually one of the kits that they moved straight across from the old Warhammer game and then just never updated. Which wouldn't surprise me because, as I've probably mentioned in the past, this one, they just got it right to begin with. You know, the design of the Gloom Spike kits and then the old style Night Goblins was just right to begin with. And when you get it right first time, you know, it doesn't really matter what you do from that point onwards. So let's have a look. Now he's going to have a shield, so just going to check some shields here as well. Yeah, so they've all got the actual Bad Moon logo on them. The reason I was kind of wondering about that is I like painting my own shields sometimes and my own design ideas, so kind of being forced to have you know, a kind of engraved shield really takes away some of your freedom. But I can live with it because I like that. I like the look of it. But, you know, just like maybe creating alternative clans, you're a bit stuck, aren't you? Now, I'm looking here. This is definitely something else to look at. The model is very compact, you know, with the shield and everything. Now, to be honest, from experience, models like this are usually quite easy to paint, but still, you're going to have to get your paintbrush. If you're going to glue these shield arms on to begin with, you're going to have to really kind of fiddle around with your paintbrush and be careful trying to get into the details. The other thing is, I'm noticing straight away, is the shield is kind of interfering with the body there as well. So just watch out, you might have to move around and pick out a different shield per body. Now, let's carry on with this then. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make one of these standards up. So it does look like we've got two options in standards. I think it's a bit redundant me doing every single one of these, to be quite honest. So I'll probably just do pretty much one of each kind. I think otherwise I'll just be at this for ages and there's no real advantage to it. They're pretty self-explanatory how to put them together. So I think I'll do one of each kind. And go from there. Bit of a mould line on these as well. I can see it here. Just trying to. You can see there's quite a bad mould line on these. You can tell they're an older kit because the mould lines just become more and more predominant as the kits get older. That's been my experience anyway. Okay, so let's get this banner here. Again, I love a good banner, but when they're pre-printed, again, it takes something away, particularly if you're like me, who's trying to practice your freehand. But to spend absolutely ages shaving things off from the banner is just like too much hassle right now. Time I don't have when I'm very busy. Okay, so looking here. So I'm looking at, and it does seem that there's only one arm in particular for your icon choices. So you have to go for either the banner or the icon. Now, here's a kind of little thing though, just to remember. If you got a pair of clippers, you could probably clip a spear and do that. So if you want a secondary, but in the end, you know, that's just a choice you're going to have to make as you go along. So since I wanted to do kind of both banner bearers, but I don't think I will, because I don't really. I'm going to end up buying a second kit anyway in the future, but you can just see here, to my mind, this seems like an alternative. So instead of a banner, you just have like a Bad Moon icon, and then you add it to that there. So you do have some choices, which is nice. It's not loads of choices, but at least it's some. Glue's flowing far too quickly today. Must be it's warm in my house. There we go. So again, just like be careful about positioning. And again, you know, just watch, because you can see here, you need to make sure that that flattens up to the base. And then to the back of the arm as well. You can see you get things like that where the banner touches the top of his hat. Yeah. Sure that, yeah, there we go. Banner's not going to interfere with anything. Now, to give him, let me check what kind of weapon he needs. I think I'm going to give him just a regular weapon. So, here we go. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the sword on this one, like the instructions say. So as you can see, they're very simple put together. I mean, there's nothing particularly challenging about them. I said, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the gong in a second. I'll do one bow, one spear, one netter, and then that way you've seen the kind of variety that you can get on them. Next, I'll go back over here, go grab another one. Again, quite a bit of webbing on this. I've gone and picked up my old cutters again, and you can see how rough the cut is that I'm getting, unfortunately. Quite a visible mould line as well. Okay, let me find the gong now. I swear I am completely lost today. Where have I've gone and hidden my bullet. There we are. That's where they are. Hidden them then underneath something. Gong. Definitely one of the interesting things about these Moonclan, the way that they've got such interesting unit compositions with just kind of different types of troop with different purposes. I do enjoy that about them. Okay, what is our next little thing here? So yeah, he needs his, there it is, there's the actual beater for his gong. What am I doing? Stop using them in nasty ones. So that's what you might call the command part of this unit. Now we can move on to, I'm going to do a netter next. So I just feel that if I can create one of each one quickly, then I'm not going to then spend ages just showing you how to do exactly the same thing 14 more times, because that just feels like a bit of a waste. So if I do one of these, clean off the webbing as well if I can. Don't like that mould line there. I want that cleaned up. Grab one of these nets. You can see how easy it is just because they're universal, so it doesn't really matter which arm or anything you pick, it should all quite happily fit together. So let's just pop that one on. Yeah, you can see, very simple, nothing complicated. Again though, you may find that the netters are easier painted separate because of the way that the arms are and trying to get into the details. But again, if you put it in the right position, it should be quite easy to get underneath and above. Okay, so let me do a bow and then a spear, and I think I'll call it for this how to build video, because I think anything else is a bit redundant because they're all pretty similar. In fact, I've probably gone past redundant now, but what the hey, might as well finish what I plan to do, if nothing else. So we can see though we've got a few choices with bows. So you've got some where they're just like on their own, and then you've got others where they're two-handed. So if I pop up with a two-handed one, got to be careful with these as well, you can feel they're quite brittle. we go. Again, you can see it's very, very simple. Let's just check here as well. So some of these have a kind of quiver arm, and some of them just have a single bow. Now, that's just left me curious about whether or not we have any loose quivers. Now, I can't see any loose quivers to my eyes here. Not that's popping off the top of my head anyway. I don't see any loose quivers. No, I think that's pretty clear cut. So there we go. That's him done. Let's get this guy out. But what I'll do kind of the bow and quiver one just to kind of show how it looks. I think it might be just useful to do that. So if that's the bow, and one of these quivers. Let's just make sure that the arms are correct here as well. Yeah, they are. Just making sure that they're the right way around. So pleased that this hasn't been like attached on by any of the weak parts to the sprue. How many times do they do that? And it's just like so flimsy because of it. Wrong side. Oh no, what's going on? I'm reading things upside down today. There we go. And pop the other side to get the quiver on. And you can see as well that you can even do these as hand weapons. So what I'll do, if I just, yeah, this is where I'll finish up. So if I pop one more guy off, one more git off, come on you gitch, and I'll just do the spear and the shield. But if you do want a single hand weapons with shield, then that's also possible. So hand weapon with shield is also, you know, a possibility on these. Oh gosh, these are fine for like big chunky bits, but not good at grabbing into fine details. I think I need to go out and buy myself a new good pearl like this. These are just so, because they're nice and thin, it's just with them being jagged, they're not cutting neatly. So spear. There we go. Yeah, I like spears, particularly with things like goblins, because they just give you a little bit of advantage, or I assume they still do a little bit of advantage against, you know, certain troop types, isn't it? can never remember if it was an official rule in Oldham or if it was just something, a rule that my friend and I had agreed on about spearmen being 2 rank. I'm pretty certain that was an official thing, an official rule, but we always used to think it made sense. Okay, again, just watch out with this because they're quite tight to the body, these shields. And there we go. Right, so that is our Moonclan Git. So there's different approaches. Again, you can put single hand weapon and shield on as well. I'm going to assume that that's cheaper points cost overall. So again, it's just kind of the I suppose if you're trying to reduce the amount you're spending, if you're just looking for some cheap cannon fodder, maybe you would go for hand weapons. Or if you just want a different appearance to them and just want to create a bit of interesting look. Anyway, so there we go. That's how you do the Moonclan shooters. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.